I'm here to stand on my soapbox and proclaim that to the world.
On this show.
Yeah, we are. How y'all doing, YouTube family? How y'all doing? Microphone check 1 2 1 2. You're tuning into the Vulcan Soapbox, where we harness the power of logic and teach you how to reason at the highest level. I am your gracious host, Enos. I'm happy to be here, and thank y'all for joining us. We got a panel I want to introduce. I'm going to start off with Roxanne. How you doing?
Hi.
Anything you want to say to our audience before we start?
I'm ready to rock. Let's get this thing going.
All right. My guy, Derek, what's going on, man?
What's up? I'm ready to rock as well. Roxanne.
You got skills.
All right, man. Freshly Snipes. Ask Seth with it.
What's going on? Freshly Snipes. You already know who I am. I'm just here to get my shots up, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Welcome to the show. Let's get to it.
Okay. And also the one and only Vulcan, man. What's going on? We back, bro.
What's going on, everybody? I'm excited for the show today. Let's get to it.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, share, support the work, send in questions. Our email will be posted below.
You muted, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have some technical difficulties. Just stand by and we'll be back with you in a second.
Who's the technical difficulties on?
I thought Enos was gone.
It's always you, Vulcan.
Meech is not a gangster.
Meech is a gangster.
No, Meech is a hustler. There's a difference.
Meech is a gangster.
Meech is a, and
If you look at his whole, and listen,
let me explain something to you.
I've interviewed these Detroit guys. Meech has gotten shot in the face, like, the whole nine. Like, he was really in it.
Listen,
he was really in it.
Listen, if Meech was that type of dude, it would have been bodies all over his case. Meech is not a gangster.
Meech is a gangster.
No, Meech is a hustler. There's a difference.
Meech is a gangster.
Meech is a,
if you look at his whole, and listen, I've interviewed.
Let me explain something to you.
I've interviewed these Detroit guys. Meech has gotten shot in the face, like, the whole nine. Like, he was really in it.
Listen,
he was really in it.
Listen, if Meech was that type of dude, it would have been bodies all over his case. Meech is not a gangster.
Meech is a gangster.
No, Meech is a hustler.
All right, sorry about that. All right, can y'all hear me? Microphone check 1 2 1 2. All right, so I'm gonna start off. I'm just gonna get people to start off just explain what y'all thoughts on this video. Do y'all agree with Whack 100? I'm gonna start off with Roxanne.
I have no idea who those people are, so I have no input on this. Unfortunately, wrong audience here.
Yeah.
We lost our host, so I'll pass it off. Who wants to have something to say?
Yeah, I am the hip hop. Every time I see hip hop, I'm like, I'm out. All right, Snipes.
Fresh, you want to go? You want to go first? Or you want to go?
No, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with Whack based on the definition of gangster, right? I mean, Meech is a part of a gang or an organization of violent criminals. He's a gangster to me. I don't think. I don't agree with Whack.
All right, I'm back. I couldn't hear y'all for a minute, man. I'm back in. I can hear everybody now, so I'm not sure who went. I know I called on Roxanne Fresh to stop talking to Derek. Did you?
Roxanne and Derek don't know who that guy is. Hip hop is outside of their depth, so it's on Vulcan right now.
All right, Vulcan.
Yeah,
these are professional people.
Yeah, so for me, when he's talking about when Whack 100 saying that Meech isn't a real gangster, 50 Cent's a gangster. Again, this to me is one of those things where you see this happening with culture, you see this happening with races, or people will say somebody's less than somebody else, like, oh, I'm blacker than them, or I'm more Mexican than them, you know, I'm more gangster than them. We create these arbitrary rubrics of what we consider to be gangster, and it's not standard across the board. And then you say, okay, they don't measure up.
Super
That's what he's
subjective.
doing there. You know, to an average citizen, they're both gangsters. Now, if you're going to get into a degree of gangsterdom, then at that point, who's going to say what? You know, who really knows what these guys did when nobody was around? To me, the bigger point of the video to me is the fact that why are we trying to have a gangster Olympics? You know, do we want one to be more gangster than the other? Shouldn't we just shame both of them for being gangster in the first place?
Well, again, you're talking to somebody who considers himself a gangster, and I don't think he's measuring levels of gangster. I think he's more going against the definition of gangster. He's saying that Meech is not a gangster, not that he's less gangster. Just to clarify, I agree with you that, you know, gangster, you know, little big or little gangster is no bueno, but I don't think that's Wack's point.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100% on that as far as his point. But I just know in the context of those interviews and how people take it culturally is that when you're disputing who's gangster and who's not, this is some type of badge of honor. Like whoever gets crowned most gangster wins.
And you heard in his definition, he said the reason why Big Meech is not gay is because he didn't have any homicides on his case. So
Nobody.
yeah, no bodies. I was like, yeah. So
He said it would be. I mean,
to add on to Vulcan point, who's more gangster, who's more violent.
If he's comparing that, then 50 Cent as a gangster doesn't have a whole bunch of bodies following him outside of just street rumors. And if that's the case, then Meech can measure up in that department as well. If it's just he say, she say.
Yeah, then that's my point with a lot of these conversations.
Arbitrary.
You know, not just arbitrary, but the thing is that, you know, okay, say somebody calls 10 hits. Another guy, you know, commits 5 deletions, you know, himself. Who's the more gangster? The one who got somebody else to do it or the one who did it themselves? That's going to be debatable depending upon who you ask.
Well, yeah, the problem is there's no definitive source material.
Yeah. And then I've heard people debate about gangsters in the sense of if you impale somebody, that's more gangster than, you know, using firearms because it's more, you know, up close and takes a whole lot more savagery.
Who you been hanging around, Vulcan? I'm worried about you, man.
I learned a lot from the internet, man.
Stay out them streets.
Investigate journalism. That's it.
Stay out them streets, man. It's dangerous out there.
Mm-hmm. So
you got some insider information.
Derek and Roxette, have you ever heard anybody give degrees to gangsterism or decide who's more gangster based off those criteria?
I mean, I understand what y'all are saying, without knowing those two guys. Like the guy, whoever that guy was that was talking, evidently, you know, behind his gangsterism or whatever you want to call it, there's some people that are not alive. And so this other dude is a hustler. So he just kind of, whatever that means. What does that mean? He's robbing people? And that's all he's doing. He's hustling you out of your money. I mean, what is he hustling you from?
Isn't that gangster though? I mean, like, isn't robbing somebody in my world? A robber is a gangster.
Is a gangster, especially if that's a way of life.
Yeah. It's like, and that's my issue. A lot of the young people hear these guys and they start getting involved in these conversations, and they get caught up in the whole movement of stratifying these gangsters, and it's all based off arbitrary rubrics that they select depending upon who's talking, who sounds the most convincing at the time. I mean, we could easily say if you're in a gang, you're a gangster. Period.
Well, that's the definition, though. By definition, that is a gangster. If you are a part of or a member of a violent gang of criminals. I also think it's odd that the more you get caught for the things that you're doing, the more you're deemed gangster. Like we're comparing to what these folks have on paper. Right, because there's no telling what Meech has done that he didn't necessarily get caught for, but because he didn't get arrested for it, or he didn't go down for it, it's not documented. apparently he's less of a gangster than somebody who did get caught. I think that's a really weird measurement. Shows how backwards that culture is.
Yeah. How many years you got?
Yeah.
Dude, I got 22. You only got
If he was a
6.
gangster, he would have bodies all over this case. Or he's just better at that than you are.
Yeah, wouldn't
Did
a
you
more
ever consider that?
sophisticated gangster or higher ranking gangster, wouldn't they be so far removed from the actual crime that you wouldn't be able to find them?
I mean the original gangsters, the Italians, they made it paramount to stay away from the actual action.
Yeah, and I mean, even outside of gangsters in the military, the president's making those calls. He's nowhere near the violence.
Yeah, he's not a gangster.
So is he? You know, so I think a lot of this, and this is the purpose of the show, is critical thinking skills. I want the audience, because again, I don't think any of us really follow these people. I mean, because I do a show, I have to know so many people, because I'm surfing the internet looking for what's important for the culture to hear a rebuttal to, or at least hear elucidated upon in a more intellectual, critical way. So I don't know.
You gotta explain yourself, Vulcan. If you out there in the streets, man, be out there in the streets.
Yeah, out there in the streets. So I don't know these guys that well, but I don't think you have to know these guys that well to understand the cultural impact that it has on people that listen, especially young people that listen to this stuff. And the thing for me is, when we're talking about who's more gangster and who's less gangster, I want to know why we never hear the interviewer or somebody that's listening to it go, why do we care? You know, why do we care who's a gangster? Yeah. I mean,
I would challenge that. Well, go ahead.
Imagine two traffickers, you know, of the intimacy variety, you know, debating about who's more of a trafficker.
I got.
You know,
wow.
We would automatically find that disgusting, but for some reason, we all seem to buy into this adoration of criminal activity.
It's the hip hop.
I don't think it's more of the fact of who's more gangster. It's like who's more hard. So I think, not even knowing these people, it's more about power. And when he's talking about bodies, it's not about the bodies, it's about the power. You can go and have bodies, but if you don't have power within your community, within your gang, then you're not more gangster. It's the person that's leading the community that would be more gangster.
I think that's a good point in terms of the clout in the streets, in that environment, that being a known killer would get you. Being a secret killer might not get you to sway.
That's when they call it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a good point,
as far as the power. What do you think about that, Derek? As far as not really about how violent the person is, it's more they might be just talking about the power they're able to influence and have that kind of respect.
If that would be the case, then the guy that sits in the back room and points his finger and say, "Go take care of that," he's got to be more gangster than all of them. Because he is the boss. Got to do nothing. He can say, "You go do this, you go do that," and if it's done, then he's more gangster than all of them.
But also, he's the one that's not competing for who's more gangster, because he has that confidence.
He has the power.
Like, yeah, you do your own things. I'm the one that's more gangster. Like, you're not in my world.
In terms of that environment, I don't know about that, because if I could reference pop culture phenomenon, basketball movie with Michael Jeffrey Jordan in it, the guy that's actually sending out the hits may not actually be the most gangster. He may just be the smartest. He may be the most manipulative. He may hold power in different ways, but his power may not lie in gangsterism.
Yeah, it's a fact. So yeah, I think when it comes to things like that, just for the audience, I want you to hear, apply your critical thinking when you're hearing people communicate about all different kind of things, even topics like this that are meant to be fun and entertaining. It's like, whenever they're saying who's this and who's that, you got to ask yourself, what standard are they using? Why should we care? Why does it matter? Is just him pushing his own opinion on the rest of us? Is he substantiating his opinion with something? And does what he's using to substantiate his opinion actually do it? And I think in this case right here, he hasn't established that the measurement he's using is the best one to prove his point.
And how do you determine?
So I think.
I didn't hear you there. You said, how do you determine that?
How do you determine what is the matrix, the metric? So What are you going to do? Go back to the first gang, the first movies, and figure out, okay, what was gangster when it first came on the scene, and this is what it becoming. How do you ever define it? It's like a
You want to answer that
no-win
freshly?
argument.
You want to answer that?
Ask it one more time.
So how do you define the parameters of what is what? Like you
Well,
say,
I think that's the problem with this culture. There's no definitive. There's no source material. There's no standard. There's no SOP that says, you know, if you do A, B, and C, then you're considered gangster. It to Vulcan's point earlier, it really is arbitrary, right? It's based on who you're talking to at what time and what the circumstances are. So it's really subjective. And to that point, if it's so subjective, I don't think there is a definition. So anybody could be right at any given time.
That's the point. That's what I mean.
Yeah. So basically, there is no real definition. I think Whack 100 is kind of committing almost an appeal to authority fallacy, where he's basing the statement or his definition based off of who he is in the culture, and not necessarily any sort of established rubric or set of standards. He's saying, you know, that Meech is less gangster pretty much because he said so, and because he's considered a gangster, he would be the authority in that conversation.
Another point that I think is important that I see a lot of people get confused about is just because somebody's more gangster, quote unquote, than the next person doesn't mean that person's untouchable. You can be taken out by somebody who's not gangster at all, a little less, a little more gangster than you, whatever it is. You know, we see that happen all the time where the bad guy gets taken out by somebody that nobody even knew about. And so I think that's important because a lot of people walk around going, man, I'm the baddest guy on the planet. And it's like, a bullet doesn't care how bad you are. If it goes through you, it can be the end of you. And so I think people got to understand that we're just humans at the end of the day. There's no real gangsters. There's no real, none of that stuff in the sense of being hard or being harder. You know, you don't have a denser bone structure or more denser muscle mass just because that other people in your community look at you as intimidating figure. Mm-hmm. So we have to start to unmask a lot of the, mythical heroism and comical, character buildup that we see in these people. And we got to really start looking at it like they're just a human being. Like everybody else. You see guys everybody was afraid.
Go ahead.
You're seeing guys who were gangster and everybody was afraid of 20 years ago have diabetes and getting their foot chopped off. How scary is that? And so these, because they're human, they're eating too much sugar, the diet's not good, all that stuff's going on. They're just human. So all you kids out there that are idolizing these people and getting wrapped up in these personalities, understand it's just like a movie. It's just like Die Hard. It's just like, The Return of the Dragon. So it's just a video game.
Let's get these comments in, and shout out to Help the Bear. He said, "Yo, Pops wasn't no gangster. He was just a lost Negro. I think it's gangster to let a mother love that." When he said a gangster to let a mother love that dope.
You think it's gangster to
what?
You think it's gangster to let a mother love that dope more than a boy in the corner. He's quoting the venerable Loaded Lux. All right, you gonna get this work. He's a battle rapper. Come on, man.
Yeah, I know that your pops was a gangster. That's the famous
Loaded Lux Yeah, Loaded Lux was talking to a guy who reveled in his gangsterism, and he was telling them, kind of what we're saying right now, like what is gangsterism, right? Why do we consider it good? You think it's good to sell drugs to your community, like those types of things? Is that gangster? That's what we consider gangster now. He was just he was a lost nigga, man, who had no direction. He was led astray by the streets and the environment. He didn't have any aspirations to get out of that environment. He could have been a pilot and fly the friendly skies. Let me not get too crazy though. I digress.
Shout out to Big Fry. What's up, man? Welcome to the platform. You muted. But he's not on screen right now. So more comments. Help the Bear said, "My bad, Loaded Lux. Salute." Yeah, Loaded Lux, one of the best battle rappers of all time.
Of all time.
I know that's debatable, but we're gonna have to do a
whole
show.
No, it's not debatable.
Whole show on that. So yeah, I think we covered that well. Let's get to the next topic. I want to get y'all thoughts. Oh yeah, before I move on, shout out to Fresh. Said the appeal to authority fallacy. I want to share that with the audience. Fresh, you mind go ahead and reading this term for our audience?
Appeal to authority in Latin is argumentum ad verecundium, also known as argument from authority. Description: insisting that a claim is true simply because a valid authority expert on the issue said it was true without any other supporting evidence offered. Also see appear to false authority. A logical form, according to the person one who is an expert on the issue of why is true, therefore why is true. You want me to read the example?
No, that's
I
fine.
think
I thought it would be cool if you give the example. This is tie into what we're talking about today, as far as what Whack 100 was saying.
Well, yeah, essentially, Whack 100 was committing the fallacy where he made a statement, and folks out there would believe it just because Whack 100 said it, whether or not he was able to substantiate his claims with any sort of hard evidence or metrics or data at all. It's just because he said it, and the people are willing to kind of go along with that because of who he is and not necessarily what he's saying.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Let me get y'all thoughts on this video. This video went viral. The show, the name of the show is The View, and I'm about to play this clip for y'all. And I want to get y'all thoughts on that. All right.
I don't recognize The View without Big Whoop.
All right. Make sure y'all microphones are muted. Make sure it's muted. About to play the video.
Do we need men? Most answered very quickly, no. And only one said she thought women needed a man in their lives, only one. But when men were asked a similar question, do we need women? Most of them said yes. So why do you think that is?
Because men are useless. I mean, and by the way, I want to differentiate between straight men and gay men, because I think I would die without gay men. Nobody can gossip like gay men. Nobody can help you accessorize like gay men. Nobody can help you keep you from doing harm to yourself like gay men. But with the exception of somebody like Steve, I think Steve is very self-sufficient.
That's Joy's husband.
But like my husband, it takes a village of women to make sure that he's not emaciated, starving, and living in his own filth. He can, you know.
Yeah.
But you guys, well, you guys feel you guys are married to people that are more.
I have Handy Manny at home. No, he fixes everything. When things go bump in the night, he's the one that goes downstairs. When there's a bug to be exterminated, he does the extermination.
Nope.
When there is something to be fixed, he fixes it. He throws out the trash and he throws out the recyclables. I enjoy all the man stuff.
So wait a second. I know what you're going to say. But wait. She's really talking about a servant. Let's face it.
No,
it's a handyman she's talking about.
No, it's a handyman. Oh, it's a handyman with benefits.
We do not have, well, but the things that you're describing, you could pay somebody to do that. We're not talking about that. What about the inner life of a man? That's what this is about.
I need my man 3 to 4 times a week. And good for you guys. And then the rest of the time I need a wife. Because I've always said
Everyone needs a wife.
No, I teased Vicky, my producer, in the morning. I was like, if you'd like to join Max and I, not in that way, but like Vicky and I could kill it as a household runners. Like we would be laughing, giggling, doing all the things. And Max would be so psyched I was wasting all my words somewhere else anyway. So it would be a perfect combo. And the other day, Caleb said to me, this is my youngest son. He said, Mama, I want a spare mom. And I didn't know what he meant. And he's like, he said, Genevieve has a spare mom. And I realized the parents were divorced.
Nanny?
No, divorced. An extra mom, like 2 moms. And so I asked him, because at first I was a little wounded. I was like, what am I not doing? You know, and he's like, no, I just think at bedtime, you always have to pay attention to the other kids too. And if we had a spare mom, dad, and you could, then you just get to focus on me. And it was so sweet. He didn't ask for a spare dad, by the way. He asked for a spare mom.
I took this totally differently in how I prepped because broadly speaking, I feel like men have proven largely useless. Like I think in the political moment, the people who are saying what needs to be said in my party, it's all women. The very few men, with the exception of Mike Pence and a few others, are saying what they need to. But in life, like I need my husband. I don't know if I need any other men, but he is irreplaceable.
Yeah, I think so.
But that's what I was saying. We like our husbands. We just don't need men beyond that.
Wait till you're married 20 years and you'll see how replaceable
the reason
they are.
that women, I think that the reason women can stay married for as long as they do is because they have a lot of girlfriends. a village. They have girlfriends because I always have to initiate the conversations. He'll step up, but I have
I
to
thought you were going to
start
say
them.
initiate.
Oh, I just told you guys I have 8 girlfriends from Panama here who are girlfriends for 50 years since they were in kindergarten.
Oh, I love that.
And they were saying yesterday that they've gone through divorces, they've gone through challenges, and having that village of women has made it possible.
Well, we
for
are
them.
more collaborative than men. I think there have been studies that say that women have much closer friendship relationships than men do.
Because women
Again, I think we have to make a
because
difference,
women,
differentiate gay men.
No, gay men are
in their own category.
yeah, but we're not married to gay men, okay?
Oh.
But women have conversations about their feelings. Men talk about
It's
sports,
socializing,
cars, all that stuff.
I don't know. My husband talks about his feelings with his
Maybe he's
friends.
gay. Next. Following question.
Wow, that was a lot. Wow. Let's go ahead and go around the room with you. Oh, shout out to Will. Will is on the screen. What's up, Will?
What up, though?
Lady, how y'all doing?
Yes,
What's
sir,
up, what's
man.
up?
Welcome back.
Already, man. Good to see y'all again, man.
All
What's
right,
up,
so,
Will?
yeah.
What's happening, Chief? How you doing, man?
Yeah, so I know that might have been difficult to listen to that whole 4-minute video. So
I need to take a shower.
all right, let's just do yes or no because there's so much to unpack here. Let's see, yes or no. Yeah, agree or disagree with the video, and then we can get into our thoughts on why. Let's start off with Roxanne. Yes or no? Agree with what was said on the video.
I mean, a lot was said. I really can't say yes or no.
Okay,
But
yeah.
just like generally, men saying that they can't live without women and women saying that they can live without men, I think it just comes back down to companionship. Like they were saying, women have their community of women and men have their bros, but they can't be vulnerable with them. So, I mean, I definitely agree with the beginning of it where they said they did the poll. Yeah, I do believe a lot of men say that they can't live without women and a lot of women say they can live without men.
All right, let's go.
I'm not
Let's go
saying
with
it's my
Derek.
opinion.
Let's go
I'm
with.
saying in general, I do believe that's a lot of the general public's consensus.
Yeah, they was about to get down on you, Roxanne. Way to clarify.
I just want to apologize before I say anything, Roxanne. We love you. Don't take any of this personal. Hell to the no on all of what they said. Just every word out of their mouths. I wanted to just shut up. Who watches that show?
We don't condone domestic abuse there.
But why?
Hey, I can air shake
It was
her.
a poll they took, so it definitely was a consensus of the poll. But why would you?
No. But the reason behind, we'll get into that. The reason behind the poll is not what they're thinking. The reason that a man wants a woman around is not the same reason as the woman doesn't need a man around. They have that.
Sorry about that. I'm back on. I dropped out for a minute. All right, so sorry about that. So
Derek was talking.
Derek says hell to the no. We don't agree with nothing they said.
All right, let's get my guy Willa here.
I mean, I kind of caught the tail end of it, man. But the question was, do women not need men, or can they live without men? I mean, I think not. I mean, the question itself, goes against our own existence. So, it's different energies. As they say, the masculine, the feminine, man, we need each other. I could never see that happening.
Yeah, that was wild. That's why I said the world's upside down when a heterosexual woman says gay men is more important than another heterosexual man. I'm like, this is wild.
I mean, what are they meaning? Do they just want us as breeders, like just to be separate and live with the girls, and we only do it for procreation?
That would have been a good question to ask. I think they did a terrible job. Really,
you get an ignorant answer from that panel.
What's up, Fresh? Talk to me.
All right, guys. I love women, and I want to point out real quick that opinion is not the opinion shared by most women. All right, that's just the loudest segment of women. They happen to have a platform, so let's not down all women. Most women don't think like that. Now, I want to point something out real quick. These are women who live and benefit from a societal infrastructure that was built by men, right? Even post suffrage, the infrastructure jobs are not well populated by men, right? The jobs that run the world, that keep the world running, they're not well populated by women, even after they have the choice to do so. And that's not a slight against women. It's just saying that their perspective is very, very short-sighted, right? They're talking about we don't need them now, but forget to acknowledge that the ability for them to speak out and kind of utilize the creature comforts that allow them to say things like that. Like, oh, you can pay somebody to do that. Yeah, you can pay a man to do things that a handyman would do. So in terms of just society, I think I think their perspective is very, very skewed. I look at that statement as the equivalent of a child saying they don't need money or they don't need something because they're living in a house where everything is provided for them, right? Why do I need money? Why do I need to get a job? I have a room, I have a bed. Yeah, who provided those things for you? I don't need you. I have all the things that I don't need you, mom, or I don't need you, dad. I have all the things that I need. Where did you get those things from? Where did those things come from? What would happen if you had to provide those things for yourself? So I think it's a skewed perspective. It's more clickbait than anything. What I want to point out, the last thing I'm gonna say is that the women who,
because I think we're all over the place, and that's my bad on that. Let me just ask the question: Do women need men? Let's just do that.
Right in the middle of okay.
My audio went out. Yeah, we can do that.
I would just point out that they were out loud trying to condemn women who were speaking.
Fresh is going to finish that.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, don't be talking about my daddy. You can say something else.
No, we need him right now. He's the only one that can help. They were trying to silence the women who actually had opinions that differed. They were ridiculing them. They were making fun of them. And I want to point that out because again, that's a very small segment of women who had a point to make and they weren't really able to make it effectively because people on their own panel didn't agree with them. Go ahead, Enos.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Can y'all hear me better now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes,
sir. What's
sir.
going on with my computer? But yeah, the last question I was going to ask, I just said, do we need women? I was going to structure the question better. All right, I'm fine. Seems like I'm lagging. So let's go ahead and start back with Roxanne. And do women need men?
Absolutely. Like I said, it goes back to companionship. And I think we all need companionship one way or another, no matter if it's homosexual, heterosexual, whatever it is. Because they did go back to gay men. Well, one of the girls said, well, gay men can't do the things that I want or something like that. And I need my husband 3 times a week. Like, it's just that companionship. And so, yeah, I do believe 100% that we both need each other to live a fully happy life.
Good point. Good point.
All right.
Derek, do you think that women need men?
1,000%. There's no woman here without men.
Facts.
They can't. They're just like the child you just said. You got everything now. We done built the roads. We built the buildings. We built the way. We built the travel. We built the plane. We built it all. Mm-hmm. And now you're going. You don't need us because you have a toy that can suffice you in this other area.
Yeah.
It's lunacy.
It's childish, is what it is.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Will? What do you think? Do women need men?
Man, yeah. Just like everybody said, 1,000%, man. Is I really don't understand the question and why it's being asked so much. It seems like nowadays. It's
an agenda push for sure.
Yeah, I guess they say it's no stupid question. So I can't say it's a dumb question, but yeah, we'll always need each other. Always.
100%. I agree 100% that women need men and men need women. I already went through my explanation, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Vulcan, in your opinion, go ahead. Do women need men?
Definitely, women need men. Are we explaining at this point, or are we just giving up first going around just
Yeah,
saying?
we can start with you because you're at this point you're the only one who didn't get to kind of go into detail on your opinion. So go ahead, knock it out.
Yeah, so for me, I just want to give a little context of how I'm taking this question and how I'm going to attack the question. It's in what way? Obviously, for reproduction, the science is changing on that to some extent, but as of right now, we need to check the reproduction. I don't think that's as scintillating of a topic, so I don't think that's what they're talking about. Companionship, I guess technically you don't. I mean, you could get with somebody of the same sex if you wanted to, I guess so. But again, that's reproduction. You can't reproduce that way currently. But I think that this topic, I don't think it's so much clickbait. I do think that we're seeing a cultural shift for a long time. A lot of women believe they don't need men, and that's what the TikTok debate was about. And you see this happening in a lot of different places where women are saying they don't need men. Women are saying if a man's not to their ideal liking. One statistic I think specifically said they asked women in a survey of like 450 women, if you can have 80% of what you want in a man, would you take it? They said no, that's settling. So and that's in some ways to me saying the same thing. It's like the men don't have the same value in their lives, and it's for some of the same reason we already mentioned about a lot of the work's been done. The world's been civilized. The lion and the tiger are locked in a cage. The roads are good, and the electricity and stuff comes on. So I do think it's important to make a distinction here, and this is where it gets more controversial, is that women don't need men.
Now,
women need men a lot more than men need women when you take out reproduction and companionship just to survive, because men occupy the roles that make life livable as far as like power and electricity and plumbing and
civil
HVAC,
engineers, architects,
all those kind of things. Those things are overwhelmingly men. Truck drivers to transport things back and forth. All that kind of stuff is primarily male-driven things because women and men are wired differently. And,
yeah.
and we
I want to caveat that that's after women have a choice of what they want to do.
Yeah.
So,
and
for
so
anyone that will argue that it's not, go ahead.
And I think to me why it's an important topic is that if women have lost sight, just in general, that's why I don't think it's really clickbait. I do think that there's a lot of women out there, a large percentage, that would say, I don't need a man outside of sexual things or reproduction. They would say, I really don't, because I do think that in a lot of ways what men have done for society and continue for society goes swept under the rug and not appreciated. That's why a lot of ladies will say things like, I couldn't be with a man making $40,000, $50,000 a year if he's a plumber or electrician or whatever it is, not realizing how important it is for our infrastructure to keep on running. Those used to be positions that were heralded as great positions and honorable positions. The working class man, the blue collar. You see the politicians say Joe the plumber. But when you look out at the dating market, you look out at the landscape in that arena, a lot of people don't find that appealing anymore. It's lost a lot of its social prestige in a way or in importance, and I think all that's overlapping and intercepting and why women are saying I don't need men.
Yeah, it reeks of entitlement because these things are already established. They already are the way the world goes. So again, like Vulcan pointed out, we're not getting a lot of praise for those things because it's kind of par for the course. Right, it's just assumed that these things will happen, that these things run almost automatically, kind of automated. Like, well, you should do these things because, right? But really, when you think about it, if we took that kind of position with things that women do, that only women can do, like childbirth, where we would say like you should do that just because it's not celebrated, right? You got Mother's Day, you have a huge celebration when women have birth, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't. I'm saying if we were to put the shoe on the other foot, it wouldn't be looked at the same way. So a lot of times the infrastructure jobs men are doing because that's our role in society. It's not celebrated, but that doesn't mean it's not important. And to Vulcan's point, I think a lot of women, more modern women who are living in a house that's already been built and established, have lost sight of that. And I think men who are naturally more logical, when asked that question, they answer it without as much emotion, if you will. So it's like, well, yeah, we need women. Like, that's an easy question to ask. It doesn't take anything away from us. It doesn't take any power away from men as men. to say that we need women, whereas it's kind of seen as a slight amongst the female community to say that you need men because you have a recent.
Can I interject in there? Can I interject?
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to address the point you made, and y'all feel free to interject if y'all have a comment, because me and Fresh will keep going back and forth if y'all don't. We'll have something y'all want to say, but I think it's not just a gender thing on this point. Even in the world of business, a lot of people have this mindset: I got to do it on my own. I know Roxanne knows that well. I know Derek knows that well. Fresh knows that well. I'm sure you do as well. Well, we're part of mentoring people that want to get into business and just want to be a professional, whatever craft that they're working on, is understanding the need to bounce ideas off other people and learn from other people. And that you do need people to really be successful. You really do need that. Absolutely right. So that's like a human psychology thing, of an ego thing. Period. Whether we're talking about gender wars or whatever people are doing nowadays, or just people trying to improve in their lives.
I agree with you, Vulcan. And for this question, though, I kind of push back against that slightly, just because they're not talking about doing things for themselves. They're just talking about doing things without men. I don't think they're including other women, right? They actually kind of spoke about, as long as I have my community of women and gay men, I don't actually need a heterosexual man. So I think your overall point is valid, but I don't think it's applicable in this particular scenario to this question that we're answering right now.
Yeah, I think the video was based on more of a man as a partner, not as men in this world or our community, because she said, well, I have my handy manny, and she's like, well, you can just hire that. So she's not saying they're not saying we don't need men in general, but I think the whole focus was, as a partner, we can be okay without having men as a partner.
So basically just romantically?
Yeah, I think that was the whole context of the video itself. Absolutely. I mean, men, they do a lot of stuff in the world for sure. You guys were saying the infrastructure built primarily by men. Absolutely. But the video, I think, was more focused on as a partner that women are saying, because she had mentioned about a man doing stuff around the house. And then someone said, oh, yeah, no, I can do fine without all the other men, but my man I need. So it's just different perspectives of partnership.
Okay. What do you think about that, Roxanne? Do you agree with that particular angle in that conversation?
I think after a while, everybody yearns for a partner. I mean, we're not built to be alone. Just like Vulcan was saying, like, we have this mentality of we got to do it alone, but then we do it alone and we don't want to do it alone.
And we're miserable.
Absolutely. And I think for a while, people get frustrated with the dating game this age. And it's like, yeah, heck yeah, I don't need a man. I can do it on my own. And then after doing it on their own, they're like, no, I changed my mind.
You know what's funny about that? When you look at that panel and the people that are on the internet that speak the same narrative, it's always the woman that makes more than six figures that can.
I was just about to say that.
I don't need a man because I got the money, so I don't have to fall back on you. So I don't have to be vulnerable. I don't have to give in. I don't have to do any of this stuff because I got a toy and I got some money. And you know what's funny about the statement? You know what's funny about the statement of her making that we can hire that? I think men can do it better. And if we stick in that vein, can do it better than a woman. Every single thing a woman can provide. I have 3 daughters. I could hire somebody to do everything, and I'm still a man. I can take care of me. I can protect me. I can do all the things that she's going to have to go up and beyond to hire a nanny, which is going to be women. It's probably not going to be men, but she's going to hire a bodyguard that protects her. And I mean, it's just the lunacy. Some of the
things. So let's real quick. Let me post that question around the table. Do you guys think that that's an opinion that's only held by high income women? Derek, you just answered. What do you think, Will?
You're muted.
You're on mute, Will. We're gonna come to you, Vulcan. I ain't forget you. Hold on to that.
Oh no, you good. You good.
Oh, okay. I thought I was put on mute. My bad. I'm sorry.
No problem.
But no, not at all. I mean, there are some women who feel that way and have sustained their household by intentionally leaving the man out of the situation. And those women don't make a lot of money. Some of them. It's not really what you would call a high income, 6-figure type lady or whatever. So that's shared by just certain women in general. you know, but I believe that instinctually, you know, that tribalistic type of yearning for a familial lineage that we have. I think a lot of people that grow up in a family that have, you know, a grandfather, grandmother, and, you know, sons and daughters and nieces and nephews, that's appealing to a lot of people. I know a lot of people will want to have that, and I think just women having sons, you know, being able to produce both genders, it definitely would make it something that would appeal to her if she grew up in a household with, you know, two parents, a grandmother. So I think that'll always be a thing, man,
Good
and
point.
it's a beautiful thing.
What do you think, Roxanne? Thanks, Will. Do you think that's an opinion that can or should only be held by high income women?
Not can or should, but I think there's a little caveat to that. So I think it's held by women who have been self-sufficient for so long and just hadn't had the support and said, screw it, I don't need a man, I can do it by myself. And yes, the majority of high income earning women do feel that way because they have had to be self-sufficient because they haven't had that support from a partner. But then there are women that haven't had that support from a partner that aren't that high income earning that still have that mindset, and it's more because that they've had to step into both the male and the female roles in their family. So I think it's just held by the women that just have been let down by men in the past.
I can see that. Vulcan, what you think?
About which part? Just in general?
Do you well, yeah, you were about to say something, so I'll ask you to answer the kind of roundtable question. Do you think that's an opinion held by only high income women? And then you can kind of roll into what you were going to say before we started.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what I was going to say before, but to answer the first part, I think that it's probably held percentage wise by more women who earn, you know, we can say six figures. I don't know what the magical number is going to be. We could just say six figures right now. I do know that the average income for a woman, you know, based off, you just do a quick Google search, is like 30,000, definitely not 40,000. You know, so the average woman is not making that much money in America. She definitely needs a man for companionship if she wants to make it to retirement age and be able to enjoy the amenities that a lot of us like to enjoy in the Western world. So she definitely needs a man in that way. And that's part of the issue. A lot of women who have affluence, they share their anecdotal advice based off the advantage that they have, and then they tell other women who don't have that same advantage because they're not thinking about the audience that they're dealing with and their access to being able to call a handyman, call a plumber when you feel like it. It's not cheap. And so when they disseminate those kind of messages that affect those women in negative ways, they don't suffer the consequences for that. And I think that's part of the problem. That's why it's good to counter that narrative like we're doing here on the show. Again, not in a way that it's men versus women, because it's not. As Roxanne pointed out, it's going to take two to tango and make it through this life in a way that we can all enjoy and have a good quality of it. I think Freshly might be frozen. Oh, okay, sorry, go on. You're on mute, Fresh, if you.
No, I think that's a good point. To Derek's point earlier, I just want to can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
He said he thinks men can do all those things better. I will say this: instinctually, men are protectors, right? Providers. So we put our lives on the line. I think just in terms of pure numbers, pure economics, a man could pay for everything with across the board with the same salary. A man could pay for everything that a woman does without actually kind of impacting his overall life a lot easier than a woman could pay somebody to do the things that a man instinctually does in society, right? Just, you know, the providing, you can always get somebody, but, you know, someone to put their life on the line, like Vulcan was saying, you got to hire like a bodyguard, someone to protect you, or at least get a weapon, have someone train you to do those things. Those things are going to be high cost, high dollar things.
Yeah, security systems that ladies are getting, and the dog sales being on the rise as more single women are buying homes. That's when you see all those industries are raking in all kind of cash they would never have gotten
100%.
50 years ago.
Yeah.
But
where do you think that protectionist thing comes from when folks train dogs? They train dogs to act in scenarios like a man would, in terms of protection.
And I want to say another thing. A lot of the studies show, and you see this popping up on the news, where they're warning women when you go to the mechanic shop or you go to get a car, bring a guy with you a lot of times, because they are going to target women to pay more extra money, pay more money than they exorbitant amounts of money. So even when to Derek's point about men doing it better, right, wrong, or indifferent, men tend to be less agreeable, so they're more likely to want to negotiate and be confrontational about prices and raises. That's why you see a lot of corporate women go to assertiveness training, so they can learn to be more assertive in the workplace, so they can get those promotions, get those raises. So to Derek's point about men doing those things better, just how men are biologically wired with testosterone and stuff like that, they're more likely to want to fight to get what they think is right.
It comes natural to us.
More than ladies would do on average. So that's to Derek's point why men would do it better on average. That's not to say that all men do it better than all women, because there's a lot of women who do it way better than men.
Yeah,
and
that's a very good clarification.
Yeah, and the black community specifically, black women out-earn black men. I saw a statistic that the only city in the country where black men out-earn black women is Houston. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah. Also, you got to point out that black, and now that's a perfect stat, but you also got to point out when you're looking at those stats and comparing them across the board that black women are a massive minority, period. So even those numbers in terms of across the board averages are not really moving the needle.
Yeah.
To change the average. I'm gonna go ahead and we kind of lost our Enos. I'm gonna go ahead and play the next video. Let me know if you guys can't hear it, and then we can kind of move on. I don't want to stay on this topic too long.
I will live by to the day that I die. My dad had a rule that's called record.
Never mind. Go ahead, play the video.
Yeah, he can still play videos. He just can't.
Yeah, I thought we lost him completely. Go ahead, Enos.
My dad said something that I will live by to the day that I die. My dad had a rule that's called wreck a Benz, buy a Benz. Don't tell me you sorry. If you wreck my Benz, buy me a Benz. If you kill my child, give me yours. That's when you're sorry. So if you're sorry, free 600,000 black men. Because if 600,000 black men are incarcerated, imagine how many black babies we didn't have. And isn't that the goal to all this shit? Drink champs and this motherfucker. My dad.
All right, Will, thoughts on what David Banner's saying? You agree, disagree?
I agree. I gotta agree with him, man. That was powerful. Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, Derek, agree, disagree?
Hell to the no.
Roxanne, agree, disagree?
I don't know.
Don't be scared, Roxanne. Don't be scared, Roxanne.
I think we're just too apologetic. We say, I'm sorry I'm late. It's like, no, you're not. And when he's just saying, like, you're not sorry unless you give me your child if you killed my child, I think it's kind of the same concept. I think we overuse the word sorry and being apologetic. So, I mean, I agree to an extent, but also not really in a way.
Yeah. So, okay. So, Fresh, what about you? You agree, disagree?
No, absolutely not.
And I'm gonna say I disagree with the last part of what he said, but the first part I do somewhat agree with what he's talking about. So okay, so Will, go ahead and explain why you agree with him.
I'm not fully aware of the entire context of what he was speaking about, whatever topic, but I took it to be maybe political, maybe something about the talks about reparations that's going on, things like that, and making things right by the people as far as the government. That's how I took it. I don't know. I mean, if he was speaking about just in general with people, then I guess I can also kind of agree with that, man. I mean, it's an old saying that says, sorry, don't feed the bulldog. You know, you could come
Well, he definitely
home.
said
free 600,000 black men.
Black men from prison.
Okay, well, the prison population is definitely overpopulated with a lot of our brothers. So many cases overturned, DNA evidence, a lot of basically nets and networks that is essentially entrapment that got a lot of people into these situations. I mean, it
Will, you
goes
think
deep.
there's 600,000 black men and falsely accused black men in prison?
David Banner thinks so. His math might be a little bit off, but
I don't know. He didn't qualify his statement with innocent or falsely accused, because I would agree with him. He just said free 600,000 black men. I don't agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a broad statement, and I guess use it where applicable. Maybe he means mentally. You know, I think there's a large population of the world, not just Americans, but I mean, we've all kind of been miseducated to a certain degree, or I'm seeing lately a lot of things that's coming out in conversations that I'm shocked that many people didn't know about. And I'm gonna reference real quick the Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl thing. It was a lot of conversation afterwards where people my age and older were like 40 acres in a mule. I never heard this statement. You know what I'm saying? So I think Banner was maybe speaking specifically to our people who, through a lack of knowledge on their own account, but also, you know, other factors may have kept them in a mental cage, you know, a mental constriction where they're not free thinking. So, like I said, I don't know his context of what he was saying, but yeah, a lot of that I can agree with. I wish I could hear him expound on what he was saying.
Yeah,
but
Derek, appreciate that, Will. Derek,
make some valid points.
I mean, I guess what I'm saying more no to is his grandfather's conclusion to why he look. If you're sorry, you're sorry. I mean, if you did something, if you hurt my child, it is absolute lunacy for me to think the only way that you are truly sorry is if you give me your child. That has got to be one of the, you can't, how that dude even lives by that
say
statement is beyond
dumb.
It's just stupid.
Idiotic, stupid. There you go. Let's get real with him, Derek.
So, and
so,
so,
hold on. Well, sorry, because I mean, well, go ahead and finish, Derek. But I know Roxanne, you know, resonated with some of that too. So I want to hear her perspective on why she resonated with some of that.
Well, no, I mean, I got her perspective, but we're looking at it as there are too many people that are saying sorry that don't mean it, but that don't make his idiotic statement hold any weight. Like it has no weight. Even if 9 out of 10 people don't really mean they're sorry, the one that does, I ain't fit to give you my freaking child approval. You know, so that I didn't agree with none of that.
Even if you do give your child, does that conclusively prove that you're sorry? You might be a bad parent.
Yeah, that's like giving your child this kid nowadays.
You might have spare children.
Be free and not have to worry about kids. Take it.
Yeah, you might have spare children. I got my boy, my girl. I got 3 other ones that I don't really need.
Here, take that one.
Right.
Reading this college shout out
Take
to
Roxanne. Take Roxanne. Go ahead and take her.
Yeah, Vroom, shout out in the comments of showing love. Vroom says, shout out to David Banner. He's not angry. Oh, yeah, inside joke. Fresh ref. We did a reaction video to one of David Banner's older videos like last year, and Fresh responded and said, man, why you always sound angry? Well, why does he sound angry? Shout out to Vroom, though. Go ahead, Roxanne.
That last video, he was yelling. That's why. All right. His voice was raised. That's why he sounded angry.
All right.
I feel like there were different parts to that video that we can comment on and have different opinions on. But the one I was talking about was like, yeah, the sorry part. Like, don't say sorry if you don't mean it. That's kind of one of my biggest pet peeves is someone that always says sorry for every little thing. And I just brought up when someone walks in, sorry, I'm late. Well, you're not sorry you're late. If you slept in, you purposefully slept in. I just think it's just, we're too apologetic, and I don't know where or how we got there and why we think it's okay to act that way and be that way. When if I show up late, I don't say anything because I know I'm late for whatever reason. I wanted to spend an extra time eating dinner. I don't know what it is, but
it's feelings, Roxanne. That's how we got there. Feelings. Feelings and emotions.
Feelings, like, I mean,
Roxanne.
like someone says, I'm sorry, I cheated. Like, you're not sorry because you cheated, but who are you sorry for? You because you got caught, or are you really truly sorry for the other person? Like,
sorry is sorry, Roxanne.
It's just a word. I think it holds no meaning these days for the most
Basically,
part.
Roxanne colloquially said, stand on business.
No, yeah, that's why I'm a big advocate. Yeah, I agree with you, Roxanne. That's why I'm a big believer in saying, okay, what exactly are you sorry about? And people don't like to do that because we have a culture where now it's like they said they're sorry, let's move on, let's not make them feel bad about it. Nobody should have a shame or feel guilt. And shame and guilt is one of the best ways to curb poor behavior and poor, mentalities.
Yep.
And so a lot of times I'm like, if somebody says I'm sorry, they'll be like, I'm sorry for the way it made you feel. The way I feel isn't what's on trial right now. What you did is what's on trial right now. Hey, you slapped me upside my head. I'm sorry the way how slapped you upside how it made you feel. No.
Nah.
Be sorry for slapping me upside my head.
Or we gonna scrap.
Yeah. And so, and the slightly different point, or maybe this point is just looking at it from the macro, people will say things like, I don't have any regrets in my life. I don't have any regrets. They've mistreated people. They've been inconsiderate people. They've been neglected. They've done all kinds of things in their life. Yet they'll say, I have no regrets. And I'm like, are you that heartless of a person? Are you that cold-hearted? You have no regrets? You never bullied anybody, even your own siblings? I'm the oldest of 5. There's definitely things that I regret that I did to my siblings. And I didn't do anything probably that any other big brother didn't do. But, did I get an extra pop upside the head because I was bored sometimes? Probably.
Vulcan, you're a bad person. Just say it. You're a bad guy.
You're a bad guy. I'm sorry for the way it made him feel.
It made him feel marginalized, okay? It made him feel bullied and less than.
So let's go around. Let's go around. Y'all agree or disagree with what was saying as far as people saying they don't have no regrets? Do y'all agree with that? I guess what you can call it, that phrase people usually say. Let's start off with Roxanne. Do you agree or disagree with them?
Disagree.
Will.
I just want to say real quick, Fresh, whatever you just put in the camera a minute ago, man, that thing looks so good, man. Oh, man.
Hey, man, my child baby that, man. That's why I showed it.
For real?
Yeah, man.
Oh, man, they did their thing, man. That's extra allowance right there.
Don't give away that.
Child labor.
Hey, I got to keep him. I'm not sorry about that.
What kind of shop you running over there?
Yes, sir.
A profitable one that makes shakes like this.
Old man Vroom said Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen.
All right.
But I mean, I think it's on the individual to a degree. Living 80 years, 70 years is a short time, but it can be a long time to, experience a lot of things that may make you feel as though if I would have turned right instead of going left. But I mean, some people feel as though it happened and it made them whoever they are.
I was going to explain because Ross said to say yes or no. We're going to bring her back to you.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So yes or no, you agree when what people say, I don't have any regrets. Is that?
I would have to say I'm leaning to disagree on that. I have to.
All right. So I'm trying to. Who you say you disagree, right?
And I'm neutral, honestly. I'm neutral on that. I'm sorry.
Man, show's over, man. Y'all disagree with me, show's over.
Nah, man.
Who disagree? I want to hear
stand on business, man. If you disagree, man, get on that. Hey, let's stand on business, man.
And that's all I want to hear. I want to hear who disagree. Nobody disagree. We can move on.
I disagree.
All right. Fresh. Talk to him.
Wait, Derek's about to answer too.
Oh,
I agree with him.
You agree?
You agree?
Yeah.
So
I disagree, man.
So we got 1 agreement and 3 disagreements.
Nah, man, I don't totally disagree or agree. I can't call it, man. I can't.
Come on, Will.
I mean, it would be a great question
Will
to
being a
ask me when I'm
politician over
like,
here right now.
huh?
You being a politician right now.
For real, I am. I ain't even go front. I am, man. I don't know. I feel like it'll be a good question when I'm like 75, if I make it 80, and to kind of reflect back. But even at this age, I hear people say everything they went through, they wouldn't change because it put them where they at. And I guess they're in a space that they really are comfortable with and they love. So, you know, speaking for myself and then speaking for them is kind of hard to do in this situation for me, you know. But me personally, I have a couple of regrets. I do. But like Jay-Z say, you got to learn to live with regrets, man.
Yeah, you can live one. Okay.
Go ahead, Derek.
Let's get Derek. You want to chime in? Go ahead, Derek.
I think I think when you hear the person that says, I don't have any regrets, the first thing that comes to my mind is, so you ain't done nothing in your life. You've been perfect to people. Because what I don't have a regret on is a trial or situation that God has taken me through that has made me better. But I got regrets telling homeboy in the 4th grade, you can't sit with us because you don't know how to eat right. I got regrets for that, you know. So I go to him in the 9th grade and I say, hey, man, I am so sorry I treated you like that in the 4th grade. That was a regret. I treated that dude bad. So when a person says, I ain't got no regrets, either they're not understanding the question or they feel like they've been perfect and life is just what it is.
Hey, Derek, if you was really sorry, you would let him tell you that you can't sit with them in the 9th grade. And that's the only way.
Hey, I was too popular, dude. He couldn't do that.
It don't matter, man. You gotta let him do it, or you're not really sorry.
I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna go over here by myself.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, because you hear that.
So yeah, so Roxanne, you
yeah,
Roxanne, something. Roxanne.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think if we look on the opposite side of the spectrum, and why I disagree is because someone can say I live life with no regrets. I have said that before. I live life with no regrets. I'm gonna be unapologetically me. But then if you ask someone, well, what would you wish you've done more? Or what would you wish you have had more? Everyone has wants and wishes. I wish I would have traveled more. So then do you regret not traveling more? I wish I would have had more money. Do you wish that, or do you regret not going out and making more money? Or I wish I would have better relationships with my kids. Well, do you regret working so hard and not building that relationship with your kids? So I think if you look at both sides of the spectrum, they could say, I live life with no regrets, but they still have wishes and wants that they should have and wanted to change.
So I want to say this because I'm specifically talking about the moral element. Now, whether somebody wants to travel more or not, that's not a moral element to it. That's going to be subjective to the person. But we can't act like, I know all of us are well past our high school days, but we can't act like people were making the dark skin jokes. You know, you so dark when you were on a motorcycle, have an oil spill, whatever it was. All the jokes that were being made about dark skinned people, the person
You're bringing up old wounds. You're bringing up old wounds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Someone's got some trauma.
We can't. We can't act like that's something that wasn't being said in elementary school to middle school. We can't act like the girl or the boy who smelled bad because his parents had 30 cats was out of his control. And he went to school stinking and he got made fun of and treated differently. You don't regret that? Because again, when you're saying you have no regrets, you're making an absolute statement. I have zero regrets. So it's not both sides because that's an absolute statement. It's like saying I'm perfect. I have no flaws. It's not both sides. It's an absolute statement. It's not a moderated statement.
They can say I don't regret that because it's turned me into the person I am today. That's what I'm saying. You got to look on that.
That's not. So again, that's called pragmatism. I don't know if you want to put that up on the screen. You know, it's pragmatism. Pragmatism is a belief that if what I do gets me to what I want, then the means are justified by its ends. So just because you got what you wanted out of life because of doing the evil stuff that you did and the good stuff you did, doesn't mean you can't regret the evil you did to somebody else. You could have still became that person without stepping on the little person. So that's what I'm saying. Just because we're saying, if you want to go Bible, the Bible says, woe to you who do evil, saying that good will come. If you want to go just ethics and morality, we all know that pragmatism is a failed way of living life. You can't say just because it benefited me, I have no regrets. If you stepped on somebody else to get there, you should have some kind of shame and guilt for that. You should regret that activity. If you don't, it has to do with your lack of morality as a person, your lack of empathy for people outside of yourself. What's the rebuttal for that from the panel?
First of all, next time you ask the question, be specific on what aspect of that question you ask. We all just answered a question that wasn't being asked. We don't got that type of time. Also, I like to officially change my, based on the moral aspect of it, I'll change my answer, because I think that you should feel regret. Now, I don't think that everyone should feel regret based on how they feel if they are not repentant, right? If they don't feel sad about that, you know, that's up to them. But in terms of the moral aspect of it, whether they should feel, you know, regret or repentance or disappointment over how something in their past went, then I agree that they should. So I'll change my disagree to agree with the clarification of what question we're asking.
True. And I think we got to look at every individual. You know, I think there's some people out there who probably have never really intentionally rubbed somebody the wrong way, even through kindergarten, man. There are some nice people, or I believe they're nice people. I don't know what's in the shadows or what's in the closet, but how would those people feel about it, you know, towards the end? If they gave, as far as from a moral aspect, they were devout in what they were doing and they tried to stay on the righteous side of morality, what happens with them? Is there still regrets?
Yeah, let me say this, and this goes to Roxanne's point earlier. Imagine you're in 6th grade, you've done something bad to another kid, because this being a dumb kid, and you apologize. You legitimately apologize. Then you're 45 years old, you know, a midlife crisis, going, I have no regrets. I live my life with no regrets. You just undermined your own apology when you were in 6th grade.
But that's assuming
you undermined. Hold on, you undermined every single apology you have ever uttered by saying you have no regrets. Logically speaking,
are regrets contingent upon the actual apology? What if I feel sad or repentant or disappointed over something? Does that mean I have to find that person and apologize, or I just have to have that feeling associated with that action? Because to Roxanne's point, you can apologize and not mean it really easily. You know, people apologize for stuff they don't mean all the time. That doesn't mean every apology that they've ever uttered or issued is false or not legitimate. I think we're more nuanced individuals than that, especially based on what Vulcan is saying, how society expects apologies to go. You should be apologizing for certain things. Oftentimes people apologize for things that they aren't really sorry for. They don't really see anything wrong with it. That's not commenting on whether it actually is wrong or not. It's commenting more on how they feel and whether or not they apologize for it, you know, whether they felt it or not, right? We make children apologize all the time. That doesn't mean that they're actually repentant for the thing that they did. That's just society saying, you probably should have done that. You should feel a proper level of chagrin for this action. That doesn't mean that they actually feel that way.
They actually, people that don't have that, there's a term, like they're sociopaths. There's clinical terms, people who don't have that level of empathy towards wrongdoing and that certain remorse. And in prison, they will have people go through certain exercises to build it up. They'll make you relive. If you committed some kind of homicide, they'll make you relive that homicide. Think about the innocent parties that were affected by it, to make you walk through it and live it, so you can build that concern for other people's well-being. So maybe you can rehabilitate yourself and get back into society as a person who can be a human being and have a heart of flesh, not a heart of stone.
Let me
bounce
back
my
to
bad. I mean to cut y'all out. Oh yeah, I was just gonna say real quick, because I'm just speaking more philosophically speaking right now, because y'all know I'm kind of, you know, both ways with it. I'm interested and I enjoy hearing what y'all saying about the subject. But what I'm trying to say on that last part, I think that's rooted in the fact that a moral offense has taken place. let's say no choice in a moral offense has actually taken place in someone's life, only accidents, like you open the door and it hits someone and you apologize in that moment. To me, that means your morality is intact because despite the accident, you lived up, to what you believe in. Or you knocked over fruit punch on somebody's dress and you apologize and say, I'm sorry, and really mean it in that moment. If you have a series of those throughout your life without conscious decisions to be offensively moral to someone, what do you think happens to those persons? Like how do they feel?
I would say this. One thing we probably all can agree on is that there's only one person walked this earth that was perfect. And we know that none of us can control this tongue. So to your point, and because I was trying to think of who would fit what he's saying, who would fit,
right.
Who I think would fit who you're saying is the dude that was born with no arms and no legs, who's sitting on the couch and people are taking care of him. The person that is mute, that cannot talk, who is very limited in his life, who they're around. But the average, let's just stick in America, the average person that has a normal life, they have done something morally wrong in their life. And we can only say, because we know there are no perfect people, that has happened to all of us.
Even those people, those disabled people, feel sad or repentant that those people have to, kind of interrupt their lives or take away from their lives. So they feel sad or repentant. So I think they still live with regrets, whether they're legitimate or not. So even those people, and to Will's point, even the nicest person, I think at the end, they probably would still live with regrets of how they allow people to kind of walk over them, right? Or let people treat them right. I wish I had been stronger. And even if it's just situational, I wish in that one situation, I would have stood up for myself, or I would have gave more pushback. So I think everyone should have regrets except for that one individual, Jesus, that Derek was talking about.
That's what I thought he was gonna say, man. That's why I was like, I know where he's going with it, but he went the other way. It made sense though.
He was alluding. He talked about diplomacy. We don't do diplomacy.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I agree though. Everybody's done something, man. Something somewhere. It's just
everyone regrets something.
You know what?
I think that's it. Go ahead, Derek.
Yeah, that's the
question. I'm gonna give you an example of something I did that I regret. But if I tell this story to some homeboys of mine or homegirls of mine, they would be like, "Why you regret that? That person deserved this." So we're in college, and I ain't got no money in college, and I had on a black belt and brown shoes, and so this girl screams out, "Fashion faux pas! Fashion faux pas!"
I appreciate
it. And I just looked at her like, okay, okay. So then the next day in the quad, she goes, now mind you, she can only see this much of my ankles, and she goes, "Oh, your ankles is ashy." Now at this point, I'm like,
"Get her, Derek."
Oh, I'll fit this.
Get her, because she doing too much.
Hey, we're in a big old group outside. This is not a small girl who is now talked about fashion, now talked about ashy. And I simply say with a very straight face, I said, "Hey, you really did all that looking just to see that my feet are ashy?" I said, "I don't say anything about how fat you are."
Hey, Derek, I just want to let you know real quick, you're a monster. Okay, I just want to put it out there. You are a monster.
I in the moment didn't feel that. I felt it as I got older. But check this out. You know what I regret? If you saw how skinny she is in her 40s, and I was like, because
you gave her a complex.
She was the bully. Oh, look at what he's got on. Look at that. And then so when I said that to her, she shut up, and that girl's life changed. And you know what? As I got older, I regretted handling it that way. Because I wasn't trying to be ugly. I was just like,
Derek, Real quick, do you think if you had taken her aside and said something like that, do you think it would have had the impact that it did in terms of changing her life?
Absolutely not.
So some would say that you did the right thing. Some would say you were being bullied and you stood up for yourself. And some, most of society would say that that's how you handle bullies.
Yeah, but I still regret it because
I disagree. But society would say you did the right thing. You changed. That lady owes you. She owes you a debt.
Yeah, and it was
probably her.
That level of regret is more of a regret to yourself and not her.
Yeah.
You regret that you let her get back to that point for yourself. So my niece, adorable, amazing, beautiful little girl, same way, she's being bullied hard by some other little girls, 10 years old, little brats. I was like, I've never wanted to hit a 10-year-old ever before in my life until this point.
I will fight a child.
I'll fight a child.
I will slap a child. But so my niece is being bullied hard and they're saying mean things and she's so upset and she's livid and her sister says, this girl that's bullying her, her face is disfigured from a dog bite. And her older sister says, well, if she's talking about you this way, you should just mention her face and how distorted her face is. And my niece laughs and she goes, yeah, huh? And she goes, no, tell her. And my niece goes, no, that's mean. Even though her heart is being broken by being so bullied. So I think more of the regret comes from not regretting primarily for her, but for yourself, because you did something that you didn't feel good with.
I think that's a good point, Roxanne.
Isn't that what the regret is? I mean, I'm regretting it.
Roxanne,
but that's what they're saying. You're good. Don't regret it because they're seeing it from the opposite perspective.
Yeah, it's a close perspective. Yeah. Do we have any comments that we want to go through before we move to the next video? Enos, or if not, we can just go ahead and move to the next video.
I don't know if he's gonna be doing the comments because he's just playing the video though. So if you see the comments, you can. You see the comments. I don't see comments on my end, but if you see comments, you can do them.
I used to see him.
Yeah, actually, I can. So I'm gonna go back a little bit. So Vroom shouted out, helped the bear, gave him 100. Now, I can't post these on the.
We got.
Oh, there you go. I get reparations. I'm buying RPGs, tanks, military bases. Invest in AI, get the edge. They having a different conversation in there. Help the bear said they just being rebellious. I think they having a separate conversation than what we having in the comments. Room and Help the Bear, they got something else going on. So let's move to the next video. If y'all want to hop into the comments, they got something interesting going on in there. It's pretty funny.
Blood is a fraternity, 100%. It's no difference. It's no difference. Only thing they did different is file legal papers that make them a fraternity. If somebody was to name Blood Alpha Phi Blood right now and file the papers, then Blood will be a fraternity. And we can start it anywhere and they can put it in colleges and all that. Being Blood is not a crime. What you do, if you're doing criminal activity as being a Blood, makes it a crime. But that doesn't mean every Blood is a criminal. I know there's a lot of people in fraternities that broke hella laws and they are locked up right now. I know there's a lot of Q dogs who lock their ass up right now, you heard? You dig? But nobody talks about that. It's all the same thing. Freemasons, fraternities, Bloods, Crips, Yetas, it's all the same thing. The benefits might not be the same. Fraternity has a different type of benefit. You sign to this fraternity, hopefully it'll help you out with your future successes and business endeavors. But it kind of works in the same way of that also, because you got people like me that have been helping out people legally and giving people different type of jobs and opportunities in their lifestyle. So what's the difference? Blood is a fraternity.
Buffoonery.
Yeah. So, Will, what you got on that, Will?
Let me clarify the question. Do you agree?
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
That fraternities are the same as gangs at their core?
I mean, I think as far as being organizations that stick together, have a certain amount of camaraderie and things like that. I think that's probably about as far as the similarities may go. Speaking of, I guess what we say gangs is now, from my understanding,
Well, hold
certain
on, Will, real quick. We're just gonna go around and
okay.
hold that thought. We're gonna make our way back around.
So you're saying you agree or disagree with that, Will? Just to make sure you agree with Jim Jones on that? Like Bloods and fraternities are the same thing. If Bloods were to just get the LLC going, it'd be pretty much the same type of thing.
Well, I mean, he named fraternities, secret societies, a couple of more other groups, right?
Right. Do you think they're all the same, basically, at their core?
Damn.
We're trying to get a yes or no, so you can move on.
Come on, Will, let him use you. Let him use you, Will.
No, I guess I'm trying to fill in what I think Jones was trying to articulate, but I think he might have been a little jumbled up or on the spot. Like, I don't know exactly what he was trying to say. I think it's something behind it, and maybe later he'll come out and really say what he was trying to say. But that clip right there, nah, he sounded a little off.
Will's trying to stay true to the streets, man. Come on, Will, get on this side with us, man.
Nah, I'm calling it what it is, man. All those groups he named got bodies. All of them got bodies.
All right.
Majority of them, I ain't gonna say all of them. Majority of them got bodies, got traceable bodies.
So, Will, you disagree? Derek, how about yourself?
I think we got Will's answer on that one.
Yeah, Derek, you agree or disagree that Blood? You agree that societies? Oh, okay. Yeah. Roxanne, how about you, ma'am?
I disagree.
You disagree that gangs are the same thing as fraternities and other secret societies?
Yep.
All right, Vulcan, how about you?
I definitely disagree on that one.
I disagree as well. Let's get back. Let's go to Will real quick.
Oh, it's cut out. Sorry.
You gotta go to me. I'm the only one disagree.
I said, well, yeah. We want to give Will a chance to say why he disagrees. Let's go a minute or less.
Okay. I guess I'm using listening to the semantics when you say gang. You know what I mean? That's been a broad label, not just for Bloods or Crips, but I mean old posses, old regimes. There's people who will actually say that the police are the biggest gang that there is out there. You know, a lot of the gang members have said, and you have police societies within certain departments that are their own type of vigilante type of gangs. So, I mean, I don't think he's looking at it just on a street level. Like, I mean, the police is a gang, man. So,
all right.
Yeah, so, you know, it's up. It's different levels to it, man.
All right, Roxanne, you disagree. Derek, hold on to that. We're gonna let you take the hour.
I disagree because I think just overall, again, we're talking about communities. Yeah, they're all different sorts of communities, but you have to fulfill certain requirements to be considered a fraternity. Same thing as a gang. You have to fulfill certain requirements to be a gang. You can't call a fraternity a gang. Like if you went and said, well, a fraternity is just like a gang, people will disagree all across the board. But I disagree because you have to have different requirements to be a part of different communities. That's just what it is.
Agreed.
So they both got initiations. They both got initiation processes.
Right.
Different types. Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm gonna go before Vulcan. So I'm gonna go in there Vulcan and then we're gonna end with Derek. So just to keep mine short and concise, I think gangs are the only organization that require violence and criminality to be a part of them. Now, Will, what you spoke about earlier is that members of those other organizations or entities do crime, right? But that's people in general. But only one of those entities require you to be a criminal, to do criminalistic things, to be in it. I think Jim Jones was talking. He was talking smack when he said that just because you're a Blood doesn't mean that it absolutely does. It absolutely does mean that you are a criminal, that you have to do criminal things. You actually can't be in some of these street gangs without doing crime. That's how they know you true.
And real quickly, just to Freshly's point, you know, now what they would consider crime and what an average person would consider crime, not the same thing.
Two different things. That's 100% correct.
You could be doing crime that we would be appalled by in their group, and they'd be like, "That's light."
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they wouldn't even consider you really being a gangster. Just like you saw with the guy earlier saying that Big Meech wasn't a gangster and 50 Cent was. The stuff that Big Meech did to us would be like horrific, But to maybe other people, they'd be like, he gets.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's a gangster because of that.
You can't even be part of most gangs. You can't even be part of most gangs if you have a 9-to-5. If you're a regular individual, you can't be a part of most gangs. You have to be into street culture. You have to be on the block.
What was the name of the gang with Buckwheat and Alfalfa?
Nah, it wasn't. Women haters. That wasn't no gang.
The name of the show was the gang. It's like Our Gang or something like that, right?
No, it's Little Rascals is the name of the show. Come on, man. That's
you're right.
revisionist
You're right.
history,
My bad. I'm getting old, man. I'm getting old.
Come on, man. I don't believe you. Oh, you would have known that. Real quick, so we're gonna go to Vulcan. Vulcan, you disagree with the point that Jim Jones was making that says that gangs are essentially the same thing as any other organization, fraternities, Masons, any of those things. You disagree. Why do you disagree?
Yeah, I definitely disagree with that. I mean, obviously, we know there's many similarities. There's people, they're organizing to do certain things. They have to collaborate. I mean, obviously, all the ways that they're the same is. But the devil's gonna be the details. The difference is what the conversation's about, and Bloods is a criminal organization. They're domestic terrorists. That's what they do. And so it doesn't mean you can't do good in those organizations. It just means that the focus is doing the bad.
Correct.
And that's what they're going to be known for, and that's how you get your stripes up. Of course, all of us have grown up around gang members and interact with gang members, and they get their stars or their stripes, whatever they're calling it, based off doing certain criminal activity.
We don't know that. Roxanne, did you grow up around gang members?
I did.
All right.
Derek.
Derek.
My bad. Real quick, Fresh. I believe that it was the series of the VHS tapes was called Our Gang that featured the Little Rascals. So I think their releases it was Our Gang. I had to clarify for the old people, man. There's somebody out there probably like, yo, yeah, it was the Our Gang VHSs.
I got
that was out back then. With the little
this man trying to put the Bloods and the Crips in the same bucket as the She-Man women haters, man. Come on, man.
Nah, it's because when I look back on like Jeff Fort and the Black P Stone, you see what I'm saying? Those guys.
Let's define our terms then. That's all we got to do to make this.
That's it. Well, but again, gang has a definition. It is a criminal organization.
Well, let him. What is your definition of a gang?
Is that the only definition, or is there?
No, he's asking you what your definition is. What's your definition of a gang that would make you say it's the same thing as a fraternity?
I mean, the way she said, there's initiation processes.
True.
There's in a few of those organizations or gangs that he named and listed, there is a criminal element there. I mean, you have biker gangs. You know what I mean?
Those are definitely gangs, though. Those are not outside of gangs. They're gangs.
Right. But I mean, cool in the gang. You know what I'm saying? Cool in the gang.
Stop it right now. You stop it right now.
I'm just saying, man, I think Jones couldn't say what I think he was attempting to say. And, he didn't give us enough.
Before we move on to Derek, Will, do you think in 1 minute or less you can clarify on what Jones was trying to say?
I think so. You know,
all right, give me 1 minute or less what you think that man was trying to say, and then we're gonna move on to Derek. He ready.
I think when he named some organizations like Black Peace, well, he didn't name those, but he's thinking Black Peace Stones, the inception of the Crips, the Panthers, things like that, these type of organizations, but also he's looking at the police as a gang and things like that, and gangs within gangs. I mean, you talk about fraternities and criminal elements. There's over the years, and I just recently saw in the news, a kid that might be facing charges for hazing. They punching kids in the chest with boxing gloves repeatedly and taking young kids' lives. And I was under the impression that was outlawed. I thought that was a ban. So I mean, that's criminal in itself if they can face charges for something that was supposed to be, I guess, removed. And I mean, I don't know, man. It's a lot to think about, and I wish I could hear Jones say it. You know,
he ain't gonna be able to say it. All right, moving on to Derek.
Tackle that specific question real quick, Fresh, that you asked is, I think the similarity that he was trying to say is that you have the camaraderie, you have the brotherhood, you have the sisterhood, you have a community that has your back. That's what I think, is making that similarity, whether it's cops, biker games, it's the same thing. The people that you have that community with, you have that brotherhood or sisterhood. But the difference is, in a gang, you have to commit that criminal activity to be a part of that gang. In a fraternity, I know that if you do get caught hazing and in trouble for it, not really just the act of hazing, but if you get in trouble
out.
for it,
you
get kicked out. If you do criminal activity, you get kicked out. So it's just the differences in what the rules are within the community. But I think he's just trying to say that brotherhood and that sisterhood and having each other's back no matter what, I think is
that's a valid point, Roxanne. I think that's a very valid point. All right, Derek, you've been waiting patiently, and we appreciate you, man. Go off. I'm gonna give you more in a minute, man. Go ahead.
Well, the first thing I'm going to give a precursor to the answer. So for me, when I look at marriage is two people engage in a physical activity that have the intent to live their life together forever. For me, in our Bible, that is when you are married. When it comes to the world, if you don't have the ceremony, if the world didn't see you give her a ring, and if you didn't have the engagement, you guys are living in sin, you ain't married yet. So reason I've used that as the precursor is because what the true definition of marriage is, I'm not going to go by what the world thinks it is. So this guy is saying, yes, it is a fraternity. So even though y'all say, well, yeah, but this fraternity, you got to do evil stuff and so what? It doesn't stop it from being a brotherhood. It's a brotherhood. They share the same interests. They have the same camaraderie. All of the things that are fraternity, when you look at the definition of fraternity, of fraternity, a gang is absolute. The Crips and Bloods, if anything, are probably more of it than some of the other organizations, except that to get in their fraternity, you got to do crazy stuff. But the definition of it, as far as it being a brotherhood and all the other things that it has, I think that lines up. That's why I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay,
I agree with that. But it depends on the details. That's the
that's what Vulcan said. The devil's in the detail. But let me ask you this. I got a fraternity, and you got to kill to get in it. You got a fraternity, and you got to eat some mayonnaise. What's they both fraternities.
Mm-hmm.
This one you can get you put in jail for 30 years. This one's gonna have you on the toilet for 10 minutes, So I mean, they are both fraternities.
Initiation phase with both organizations. Yeah.
Right, but you differentiated. You qualified the initiation. One is criminalistic. One is required criminal. I think that by the definition, that would make your fraternity a gang, right?
Okay.
Now you can call it whatever you want. Just like the Bloods and Crips can call their gangs organizations. That doesn't make them organizations. By the same token, a fraternity that requires crime to get in is a gang, regardless of what they call it. It's about what the definition of the things is. Semantics are just semantics at that point in time.
And it's different because you have organizations. Both of them are organizations, but both of them are not gangs, though. There's two different definitions. Because even with gangs, you have to technically it's blackmail. The initiation, you might have to do some criminal acts or even have to delete somebody, and they will hold that against you. Some people use that and tell on somebody, like, I know about a murder 5 years ago, and use that against the person they recruited to come in. So there's a lot of blackmailing going on in the game.
You can't even get out of these organizations unscathed. You could leave a fraternity.
Yeah.
You can't leave a gang. It's blood in, blood out. And by that very token, the blood in is the problem. You got to shed blood to get into this gang, and your blood got to be shed to get out of it.
And to add to what Derek was saying, I agree, like I said, as far as group, and I like what Roxanne said, the camaraderie, the brotherhood, all those are aspects or characteristics of most organizations, so, but what are their goal? I mean, we did this quote on the Charleston White versus hip hop. I read a quote, I can't remember word for word, but he said most gangs, their goal is just to terrorize the world. You can't say that for fraternities, that's not their goal. But gangs, that's they're all in agreement to terrorize the world or terrorize whatever neighborhood or country they're in, and that's like I said, the details. But as far as the game, he says no difference. So say, I mean, he's speaking ambiguous. He's being very vague, but I get the premise what he was trying to say. So yeah.
Jim Jones is full of crap.
I want to go back to that movie with Will Ferrell where with what is it? I love you, Blue. Let's go streaking in the club.
Oh, you talking about old school? Old school.
Old school. There we go. So they wanted to be a fraternity, and they started their own fraternity, and they said, no, you aren't a fraternity because you don't meet these requirements. So they had to go above and beyond and meet the requirements to be a fraternity.
Same thing with a gang. You can't just say you're a gang. Listen, there are rules amongst biker gangs that says you can't just start a gang. Yep. We don't recognize you as a gang, and if you try to run through here wearing patches and wearing cuts and vests like you are a gang, you're gonna have to get dealt with by an actual gang.
Oh, yeah, and I would add,
you need to be. Real quick, you need to be prepared to commit crime and violence to stand your gang up as far as real gangs are concerned. We're gonna test your gangster. If you feel like you that, we gonna see about it.
Mm-hmm. Until Will, I heard you bring up Jeff Ford. If you watch any of his documentaries, because I have family in Chicago, I don't know if you noticed, he had bought some missiles. He was trying to shoot the missiles at the police. I don't see fraternities doing that kind of stuff. But as far as him being a mastermind organizing, like Larry Hoover, they was trying to go to the political route. But they got
he was ready to get on some gangsters.
History of violence, though. So let's get into the next video. The next video, this guy's been trending.
Welcome back, Enos. Came back with a bang.
One of our favorite guys we like to react to has been trending on YouTube. Can y'all see that? Dr. Umar Johnson. I think he changed his last name to.
I need y'all to stay focused.
So we'll get y'all thoughts on this.
I need y'all to stay focused. I appreciate those of y'all who are standing, fighting for me. I appreciate the love, but we're going to let all the negativity cycle through. We're not feeding into it no more. Positive vibrations. We're in the new year. Black History Month just ended. This is Black March. Positive vibrations. That's all we're going to do. Everybody who want to throw this and throw that, and let them do it. I'm not worried about that. Let them do it. We're going to do what we got to do. You feel me? So everybody stay focused. Everybody stay blessed. And we're going to do what we need to do. We got to build, y'all. We got to build. Stay focused. Don't let the evil take us. If you with me, you with me. If you ain't, you ain't. I'm not begging nobody. If you with me, you with me. If you ain't, you ain't. The only thing good that's coming out of this unfortunate situation is everybody got to pick a side. Pick a side and stay on it. Please stay on your side. No more frenemies. I don't want no more frenemies. Either with me or you not. Let's do what we got to do. Black queens forever. Snow bunnies never.
Does your mom hate him too? Of course she do. Because he put his fucking hands on her. What's wrong with him? He should be in fucking jail. Like, really, he should be in jail. Like, I'm not even joking with y'all right now. It's a lot about him that y'all don't know. He's a crazy, sick man. How long was they together? I don't know. They met in college. I don't know how long they was together, but he was with his other child. He was with her mom for 5 years. That's what she told me over the phone. But I don't know how long him and my mom was together. So he's a woman abuser? Yes, he is. And a liar and a hypocrite. Yeah, all those things. Yeah, she left him. And then this man got on the internet and said, my mom wanted to marry him. That's a lie. That's a lie. Why would my mom want to marry somebody that put his fucking hands on her? This man is a liar. And I can't stand him.
Black queens forever, snow bunnies never.
That's right.
Tell these.
Okay, all right. Shout out to Dr. Umar. He got his own ad-libs now. Black Queens Forever. You can play that on some hip-hop tracks. All right, so let's get into it. This has been trending. Want to get y'all thoughts on, trying to find the question. Just get y'all thoughts on this video. Let's start it off. Then let me ask, what direction you want to go with this video?
What question do you want to ask?
Yeah, because I don't have the questions in front of me. So, yeah, let me see what direction should we
Go
go.
ahead, Vulcan.
I guess we just start up
Just
with a.
yeah. So
Well,
sorry. Yeah. So Will, what do you think? What do you think about the video? Do you think do you think it affects Dr. Umar's credibility? Do you agree? What's your thoughts on all that?
Yeah.
Well,
And
well,
real quick,
first of
just so
all,
hold on, before you even say that, let me make sure everybody understands on the audience, on the panel, what's going on. Dr. Umar is a Pan-Africanist who is building an all-black school. I forgot what city specifically. He's been doing it for about 5 years. He is one of the most popular Black conscious speakers in the world. And recently, his daughter came out and started talking about his character and stuff like that.
Allegedly.
Her
Allegedly.
mom. But she started talking about it. Now, we don't know how much of it is true or not true, whatever the case may be. It's all just internet
We don't know if
stuff.
that's his child.
We don't know if that's his child even.
We don't know that.
DNA test.
So that's where we are with it. And that was who was in the video. Excuse me, in the second part of the video is her talking about Dr. Umar, who she alleges her father, and that he was with her mom and he was doing those things to her mom. So
does Umar really respect Black women?
I guess the first question, does it ruin his credibility? Because he is considered a beacon for Black America, the leaders for Black people. Does this hurt his credibility? Sorry.
Especially since part of his platform is saying, Black women need to
families.
be with Black women, Black families. So just what's your thoughts on that? Take whatever direction you want to go with it.
yeah, man. I mean, first and foremost, man, it's very unfortunate. Anytime you see a father and a daughter going back and forth in the public eye online with something that maybe could have been handled behind the scenes, man, I just hate that in general. But as far as his credibility, it doesn't help. There's been a lot of talk about some of those funds and donations that's been going into building this school. A lot of people want a paper trail about the money, and they want to know exactly what's going on with the school. It's been about 15 years, I believe. Hopefully I'm not wrong in putting more time on it, but it's been a while. It's been over a decade.
He's building an institution, brother. Come on, that takes a long time.
And
That's my
a lot of people who ask for receipts and the paper trail to really see what's going on with it, you get a little defensive, and it's no real transparency with that. So when you hear something like this, along with a couple of other things sprinkled here and there, it's definitely another shot to his credibility, man. And it definitely damages his reputation a little bit more. And also the fact the way he clapped back online, I think it would have been better for him to just issue a statement and say, I understand my daughter's hurt, and I'm gonna reach out to her, because from what I understand, the problem is that he hasn't been reaching out. She's been trying to reach out to him. Allegedly, he has another daughter, and I believe possibly one more child, and she wants to meet her siblings. He hasn't been around, and she says she has receipts that is his daughter, paternity test. So yeah, man, it's just a bad situation. And as a father, you don't look good going back and forth with your daughter, calling her a clout chaser, even if it looks like this is what she's doing in the public eye to get your attention. As a father, a lot of people want to see you with a calmer head and be a more level individual to say, hey, my daughter is hurting right now. We're not going to do this to the public, and I'm going to take it behind closed doors. But
take the high road. And
you should go to Derek next.
Especially coming from a man.
Go to Derek next. He looked ready.
Yeah,
Let's get Derek here.
I've been ready to drop bombs.
But the good point that you make, Will, like you said, taking the high road, and then he always having some accusations in the past, so this doesn't help. I see what you're saying. That's a good point. There's already a lot against him, and then now a member of your family saying these things, it could definitely hurt his credibility. I like that intake. Let's bring Roxanne here. I got you, Derek. Hold on, let me get the ladies.
I'm good.
Oh, okay. Let's get Roxanne here.
Does it ruin credibility? 100%. Whether it's true or not, whether people want to believe or not, 100%. It puts doubt in people's heads. That's why they want to check finances now.
It's a very objective, perfect. I love that. That's objective. It does it regardless of whether it's true or not.
Derek, talk to us.
Yep, it absolutely hurts his credibility, and it hurt his credibility with me. I don't like any of the Black Power people. I don't call me what you want, do whatever you say, whatever you want. I never ever have liked them groups. Black, what's his phrase? What's his phrase? Something sisters, no snow bunnies.
Oh, excuse me. Black queens forever, snow bunnies never.
I told you that's a rap ad-lib right there.
And them black queens want that paper trail, that money you've been getting all the years.
Umar, you right. We want to know where our money been going. To clarify what we were saying earlier, it's about 10 years, so it's a little in between. 2015, he said he was going to build it. It was supposed to open in 2016. We ain't seen nothing yet. It's 2025.
Been saying it every year since. It's opening, next year. And
hey, we want his tax returns like we want Trump's tax returns. Where the money at, Umar?
All right, we'll talk to us fresh. You already popped it off. What you think? Does this ruin his credibility, man?
I was gonna say no because his credibility is already in question. But based on what Will said and what Roxanne said, actually, unfortunately, it does impact his overall credibility. I think even if he was already losing, he loses more with this, especially for people who already were impugning his character. This just gives him more ammo to kind of more ammo, more evidence to stack on the pile of what is burning Umar. So I think it does impact his credibility negatively.
Yeah, like I said, Will made this point, and Roxanne and Derek, especially when you're an advocate for Black families, this is not a good look.
Umar, where your Black family at, brother? You got at least 2 or 3 opportunities to have one. What's going on?
And, that famous quote: "People are more, even if it's not true, people are more entertained by the lie than the truth." So,
if he was really down with the struggle, he have the sandals and capris on, brother.
But Umar on record, he's on record saying that he doesn't believe in the traditional family anyway. He wants more like 3 wives. So, in the traditional sense, he's not abiding by that anyway. So.
That's true. He's Pan-Africanist, and that they believe something else. That's a good point.
And denying your siblings an opportunity to come together, meet her sister and know what's out there. Y'all share the same father. But I always find it funny, man, when people kind of make a living and do a lot of interviews speaking on a lot of other family issues out there. But then when their closet gets exposed like that, and you see a different side of them, there's like this reluctance to even say, hey, I'm at fault, so let me go ahead and address that. That really wasn't an address to the people.
He didn't take any accountability.
Right, he didn't take accountability, and then he sent shots and basically degraded the girl in public a little bit more, and took a shot at her feelings. So yeah, it's an ugly look, man.
Let me hop on the other side of the fence real quick and push back. I always wonder whether it's true or not, right? Whether it's accurate or not. I always wonder the motivation behind stuff when it comes out. If Umar been in the public eye, he's been famous for a long time. I have to question the why this information is coming out now. What's the motivation? What's the benefit of her not coming out, right? Or unless she just found out that her father was Umar, why now? What's going on?
Man, he called her a clout chaser, social media age and what's going on. So I guess he's assuming she wants to use his name to boost her platform and gain notoriety, I suppose.
So I think in that case, her credibility is also impacted negatively as well. If that's what she's doing, it's hard to take her serious, right? It's hard to kind of empathize with her because why are you doing this? What's your motivation?
When you say that fresh, why are you doing this now? I mean, is it a perfect time to I guess for her to express her feelings? I mean, what does she? So
no.
Why? I'm trying to get why. When you said why now, does it have to be yesterday, or 2 years ago, or 10 years from now?
If it were to come out,
20. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. If it were to come out, I would say it should come out as soon as you found out, right?
But she was young, so when she found that her dad wasn't in her life,
if she's 20, she grew up with the internet in her pocket. She could have said that at any given time.
Well, I mean, according to her, she has transcripts and receipts of text messages where
Right.
Umar didn't respond and didn't, get back at her and attempt to build that relationship. So that's her
She
argument
probably
is that he,
she probably
yeah.
try to build a case before she go public. We got Vulcan now. Let's get Vulcan
Mm.
thoughts here. He said, all
Yeah,
right, Vulcan,
I
what you
didn't think
think?
of that. Yeah, you're right though.
Yeah, probably being strategic. All right, Vulcan.
Well, yeah, but again, if it has a strategy, I'm gonna let Vulcan go right to it. If it has a strategy, I still have to question the why. Why do you need a strategy? Go ahead, Vulcan.
Vulcan, so do you agree that? I mean, what's your thoughts on? Does this ruin his credibility? What's your thoughts on that?
No, I don't think it ruins his well, it depends what we mean. Do I think it logically ruins his credibility? Sorry, go ahead. You were saying something? You want to say something else?
Yeah, I was going to phrase the question different, but no, just go the direction you want to go with it.
I don't mind to rephrase. You want to rephrase it?
Does it, instead of does it ruin it, does it help? I guess I could say help. Does this help ruin his credibility?
I'll answer it either way. Just throw it at me.
Yeah, I say help. Let's say help.
You can throw that. You can throw it at me both ways. I answer it both ways.
I don't like that.
Whoa,
I'm
I was like,
uncomfortable.
whoa.
No, I'm uncomfortable right now. I don't like that. Hey, Vulcan said, "I'll take it any way you give it to me." Whoa.
I was like, whoa, what's going on?
Oh man, okay,
I'm
that
feeling
ruined
uncomfortable.
it
Definitely shifting gears.
Super Paul.
2025, y'all. Hey, cut it out. 2025. Don't judge me.
Nah, it's too late.
Oh my god.
So yeah, as far as does it help his credibility, I'll answer that one because that's the one you want me to answer, and I'll answer the other one second. But
help hurts his credibility. Help.
So let me make this distinction real quick. There's how society views it, and then there's whether it's a logical hindrance to his position or his credibility. So logically, no. That's the hypocrisy fallacy. I'm not going to put that on the screen. We can cover that whenever you're ready. Hypocrisy fallacy. But as far as society, yes, it does. People are very, very obstinate to critical thinking. They tend to be very led by their emotions and whatever feels a certain way. So yes, if you have somebody who's making some great points, and then you find out that person ran a stoplight or did something wrong to somebody or whatever the case to be, you might change your whole opinion about that person based off a completely unrelated situation. The true question about what Dr. Umar is saying is what he's saying right or is what he's saying wrong? Is it true or is it false? It doesn't matter how he's living. That's irrelevant. I can say 2 + 2 is 4 while I'm doing a test right now where I'm putting 2 + 2 is 5.
That's the ad hominem fallacy, almost to the word.
Those are two separate issues. I'm not, but yes, how people's mind works typically. If you get some dirt on somebody, they'll question everything. They're not thinking is what the person's saying true based off the merit of his reasoning. They're thinking is it true based off do I like this guy or not, or do I find him? Am I confident in what he's saying because I bought into his propaganda, I bought into his sophistry or his rhetoric, and that's part of the purpose of the Vulcan Soapbox in general is the fact that we do tend to celebrate celebrities. And we tend to fall into the gravitational pull of their charisma, and then everything they say becomes gold. And what happens is we turn off our ability to think for ourselves. You could not like somebody.
Go ahead, finish. No, go ahead.
I say you could not like somebody and think they're right. You can hate. You can love somebody and think they're wrong. And so I would say it shouldn't hurt his credibility at all. For what he's talked about now, if it's talking about his love for his adoration or love for quote unquote black queens, as he's saying, that could be maybe up for question.
Which is one of his primary
love. Now,
one of his primary platforms.
You're on mute. Yeah, one of his primary platforms. So as far as his love for black women, if you can point out that he's currently doing things that are disadvantaging quote unquote black queens, then perhaps you could, affect his credibility. On a side note of that, before we get back into this, I wish we would stop with the whole black kings, black queens thing anyway, because none of us would even agree with the monarchy to begin with.
Facts.
If you saw a queen or a king in real life and you were under their jurisdiction, you would hate your life. They own everything. They can do what they want. So why do we call people black kings and black? It's some type of compliment to them or some way of esteeming them. It's not a good thing. That's why we live in America. We don't like kings. America was founded because they're running from what?
The monarchy.
The monarchy.
which is under the rule of a king or a queen. Hey, Vulcan, you and your logic don't have no place in society, man. Shut up. Shut up.
Yeah.
Damn, man.
The blacks that were sold over here, they were sold
by
African kings because they can
Vulcan,
do what
stop
they
it.
want.
Stop it.
Yeah, so we got to stop this black queen, black king stuff because it doesn't even fit with what you believe.
They gonna kick you out of their community, bro.
Yeah, you're like, don't play this.
We're gonna get you up out of here, y'all.
Yeah. So I just want to say that's on the side. If anybody wants to disagree with that, feel free to share that. But yeah, going back to this credibility part, I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know when you're gonna have the term up ready to go.
Yeah, I got you right now. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Tu Quoque Fallacy, about the Tu Quoque Latin you also fallacy involves the accusation of hypocrisy against someone instead of engaging with their argument. Tu Quoque, also known as ad hominem. It is a fallacy because being hypocritical does not change the truth value of whatever someone is saying. Example, 1, Alice advised us to exercise regularly. 2, Alice does not exercise regularly, therefore her recommendation must be rejected. So basically, just because a fat person tells you to exercise doesn't mean you shouldn't exercise just because they don't exercise.
Pleasantly plump, sir.
Rotund.
Rotund. Big boned it.
Big bone. And for the audience to tie that into what Dr. Umar is saying, it doesn't take the fact, the stuff he's saying about the unity, the family unit, it doesn't take what he's saying is flawed because whatever he's going through personal. That's what, to tie it in with Dr. Umar, to give y'all an example why that's related to what's going on. So, yeah, his credibility as a person is one thing, but the things he's teaching is still
let me say this part
reasonable
to it as well. The reason why this is so important is because a lot of people find themselves in ruin. I've seen people send Umar messages like, I'm losing hope in, the black community's ability to unify. You're my last hope. If you don't get this done, I'm losing all hope. So when we start focusing on the personality instead of the message.
Ooh, that's very messianic too.
It's very messianic. And what happens is people get let down. They lose hope. It just sends everything into the wrong direction, the wrong trajectory. So that's why it's important that people know about these terms. Hypocrisy fallacy. Don't get caught up in the personality, whether they live up to what they're saying or not. You judge them based off that stuff, because people, if you are living up to what you're saying, we do give you more credibility for that.
Yeah.
If he actually had the juice to do it, he would have already done it. So really, it's a losing game putting hope in Umar anyway.
Vulcan to finish his point. What was the last thing?
So you do get credit if you're doing what you say, you get more credit for that. That's more integrity. We all understand that as society. But if you're not living up to it, but you're still saying the right things, you get credit, but a little less. You get less credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is some people say the wrong thing and they do the wrong thing. And we give them more credit sometimes than the person who's saying the right thing but doing the wrong thing. Because in our world, a hypocrite is worse than actually be doing the wrong thing. And I'm like, no. I'd rather the person say the right thing that's doing the wrong thing than the person who's doing the wrong thing and saying to do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And so that might go over some people's heads out there, but to answer your question, no, I think it shouldn't change his credibility for what he's trying to do. Not that I agree with what he's trying to do for the most part anyway, but the parts that I do agree with, he should still continue in that endeavor as long as he do it in a way that makes sense.
All right, let's bring Roxanne and then y'all disagree with Vulcan?
I agree with what he says, that it shouldn't shouldn't diminish the credibility of his message 100%. But him as a person, absolutely, you can't look past that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You agree with that? I think that's essentially what you were saying, Vulcan, as far as his personality. All right, what's up, Derek?
No, I agree with it.
I agree.
I like that one premise of just because an overweight person tells you should work out, the message is still the truth.
Yeah.
So,
and you get caught up in that all the time in everyday arguments.
Especially in the church.
Uh-oh.
That's big in the church. You know, how many folks that they left the church? You on mute right now, Fresh. How many folks that they left the church because they people were hypocrites around them in the church?
Church hurt. Mm-hmm. Vulcan, they gonna kick you out the community. You finna get you finna get your car revoked, bro.
Okay.
They're gonna take it away from you.
Yeah. Hey, if you don't want to go no more, just don't go no more. Don't make that. Don't use that as the excuse. Just say, hey, I don't.
Yeah,
want to
just
go no
say that.
I don't want to go no more.
I don't like church. Okay, just say that.
I don't like church. Yeah.
I don't want to be saved. I don't like the camaraderie. I don't like the fellowship.
Yeah.
Don't blame it on people. You was never following people in the first place. You're supposed to be following Christ.
Yeah, that's why I said that. Even in the Black community, whether it's church, let the doctrine, let the code, whatever the movement is about, let that be the leader, not the person. The person is just the messenger.
100%.
And we measure them so far as they are parallel with whatever the perfect truth is, whether it's 2 + 2 is 4 or God is real, whatever it is, the truth that we should be heralding and lifting up. We should give people the respect so far as they line up with that.
These same people
is better. What is better to do, and you see this with whether it's in Islam, whether it's in Christianity, whether the Judaic religions, you use that doctrine to judge the messenger. That's what it's for. It's not to listen to the message. What Vulcan say, you lose hope in the movement. No, whatever he's preaching, you use this to hold him accountable. But it's hard to do that with Umar anyway, because you don't really know what he
believes in.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard. So
you see that in the scriptures when they talk about the Pharisees, he says, listen to what the Pharisees say, but be careful of what they do. Beware of what they do. He said they weren't good representations of the Christianity or God's message. But what they were saying was they were quoting the text. So yeah, the text, what they're saying is accurate.
These are the same people who prescribe to a Democratic or Republican party, regardless of what the people inside those parties do. Yeah. So they have the capability of doing it. I think it's something they got against Christianity, which is a different conversation. Y'all don't mind voting Republican regardless.
I'm gonna bring Will
I think
in
they
here,
got a
but
problem
that's
with
one
the
thing. Hold on for a minute. I was gonna say this. I'm bring Will in here, but you're right. Even what I'm not super into politics, but just on the surface level, people that was voting on the Republican Party, most of the people was voting for them because of their values. They didn't think Trump was the super religious guy. They just think some of the values he lined up with theirs, and that's what they went with. But you have the people on the left saying they're not voting for Trump because of who he is as a person, and you can use that in the political arena too. So people usually vote on their values. Usually, especially when you get upper in age, in your 30s and 40s, that's more important to you when you're in your early 20s. Let me get Will in here. What's your thoughts on what Vulcan is saying as far as the credibility of, you want to share your thoughts?
Oh yeah, man, definitely hurts it. As on a personal level, there are some of Umar's, positions and sentiments I can agree with, but like you said, it's hard to get that across whenever you're looking at the person.
Yeah.
And some of the things in their personal life can cause you to want to distance yourself from their particular movement. I just think with a lot of these movements, man, whether it's in the church or Umar, is they passing the offering plate too much, man. You ain't got to pass the offering plate 7 times, man, during the you know what I'm saying? Like,
man, the building fund, man. We need new doorknobs around here. Chill.
Man, they had the same building since '76, and the pastor done got 15 new lacs every year. 15 new Cadillacs, man.
Man, that's a blessing from the Lord, man. The man of God can be blessed, man. He can be prosperous.
I heard that, man. But when you start getting into the realm of jets and shit, man. But I think it's like you say, you got to go with the people that's in that building, that's a part of that community, and that's a part of that organization and that type of fellowship, and just get a feel for yourself, man, of those people. But like you say, don't go in blindly voting or aligning yourself with any particular party or any organization or religious sect or anything like that, man. Just give yourself a chance to see what's going on and if it helps you grow or not.
Okay, all right. So I have one more bit. Okay, all right. So yeah, I think that was pretty good. And like I said, we like to bring up. We like to. This is what we're in the position to teach, and just to provide you certain tools to just to help you elevate your mind, help you as observe things differently. We see that a lot in our community, whether it's the hip hop and religion. They focus so much on the person, and it takes away from whatever that person is trying to do because they focus more on the personality. I think we do a bad job of getting more involved or more engaged with the personality instead of just the message. So we got to definitely do a better job with that. So yeah, we I think we go ahead and wrap things up. Uh, let me see.
All right,
Got
y'all.
one more.
Well, I appreciate everybody who checked out the show. And all of you joined the panel, Derek, Will, Roxanne, thanks. Anything y'all want to say to Roxanne, anything you want to say? Where people can find you? Anything you want to share with the people?
Just keep an open mind and don't listen to everything that you're hearing. That's what this whole conversation's about, is just really take in what you're seeing online. I see so many people that are taking what they see and what they hear literally, and you can't do that.
For sure. Will?
Man, just, good seeing everybody again, man. Appreciate the fellas, having me on, man. Great conversation. Love the show. Keep it moving, man. I want to say this, but before I check out, man, lost a staple of my community recently, man, a couple of days ago. Good brother, and we're talking about love and morality, good things personified, the ups and downs of life, man. If y'all got time, check out a brother called well they done did documentaries on his life. They working on another one right now. But the news has interviewed him, and he was just a unique soul, man, and really was a one-of-a-kind person. Made a big impact on everybody in my community. So if you look up on YouTube, the Crab Man, West Texas, it'll pop up a video about him, and that can lead you to probably get a little bit more info, man.
Thanks for that, Will. That's big.
Yeah.
I gotta look. We gotta look into that. Everybody, audience out there, look more into the Crab Man.
Yeah, check that out. The Crab Man, West Texas. We called him Crab. Hey, the brother was a one of a kind. His own language, own movements, man. And if you look at him every day, he looked like he dressed like he came off a cover of a Parliament Funkadelic Earth, Wind and Fire Isley Brothers album since I first known him. And this was just his persona. No matter what was going on, he was genuinely him. And man, we gonna miss you, brother. R.I.P. Crab. And condolences to the family, man. Everybody check that out. Be on the lookout for the documentary coming out. And yeah, the Crab Man, San Angelo, West Texas.
Okay. All right.
Appreciate you,
Will. Derek.
Yo, hey guys, thanks for having me once again. It was fun. I'm with Roxanne, man. You know what? I'm gonna say this. I think since time is running out, as far as like time, I think if more people get to a place where they know who Christ is, a lot of the things that we debate and things we talk about, the clarity of it starts to get really, really clear when you have a source that knows it all. And so it kind of makes some of these situations like really easy. But I know we're dealing with things down here and how the world looks at it and how we look at it. But for anybody watching that is a believer or a Christian, then our focus, our way, what we believe about these situations should also reflect what Christ would believe about these situations. But that's about it for me. Thanks for having me.
All right, Freshly Snipes.
Listen, guys, we just want you guys out there, the Volks, to look at things with a critical eye, go through things with logic and reason. You can believe and listen to anything that you want as long as you examine it with a critical eye. That's all we're trying to get you guys to see. and make sure that you are not duped by some of these wolves in sheep's clothing out here. We appreciate y'all coming out, especially our panelists. Appreciate y'all for joining us. Your opinions and your perspectives are valued, and we hope to see you guys back again.
Yes, that's one of
Tag
my
team,
favorite
back again.
one of my favorite quotes. Think about your thinking while you're thinking. Thought, speech, and action. So when you are in better control of your thoughts, you can articulate yourself better, and you definitely have more control of your life. So that's what we are doing. We harness the power of logic, and we teach y'all how to reason at the highest level with Vulcan leading the charge. But I'm glad to be here. I'm glad y'all tuned in and joining us. I am Enos. Tune in next Thursday. Vulcan, close the statements.
All right, thanks. Please like, subscribe, and share the message about critical thinking. That's why we put the terms up there. That's why we want everybody to share their perspectives. Roxanne pointed out, because we want to make sure people just are able to have the tools to be able to decipher things for themselves. So I appreciate you joining us for the show, and tune in next Thursday. Thank you. We're out. Vulcan.
All right, peace.
The Vulcan's amazing, man. We're having so much fun.
I'm here to stand on my soapbox and proclaim that to the world.
On this show.
This is the hottest show on the planet right now.
What's the debate? Ain't no debate.